Hey guys. We're gonna have to start here in about another 2 minutes. I gotta run back downstairs. I'm home alone right now. Welcome back, first of all. Hi. How we doing? How we doing? I'm home alone right now. The wife, the kids, everybody's gone. It's just me. And the dogs are losing their mind because they want to be let out. They just ate. Give me 2 minutes, and I'll be right back. Okay? Stick around. Be right back. I let them out, and they just stood on the back porch and stared at me. So I made them come back inside. They can bark. I can barely hear them from up here. Welcome back. How we doing? Like for him to come. It must have worked. It must have worked. Welcome back to the Funker News Network. I'm late. I'm Ronnie. It's good to see everybody. How we doing? We got quite a bit to go over today. We're gonna be talking about Iran. You know, you guys can tell based on the thumbnail. I don't know. They kind of, tried to put on some big boy pants, but it didn't really work out the way they wanted to. We're going to talk a lot about Ukraine. We're going to talk about a lot about a balance today. A lot about a balance with what we cover relative to the counteroffensive in Kherson. We are going to cover some footage. I do understand that Ukraine has asked, generally speaking, to somewhat limit the footage that's shared and discussed, and there is going to be a balance that we try to manage and meet that. But there is also Funker 530's mission, which is, to help people be as informed as possible. So the footage that we're going to review is very localized, very small stuff, nothing that's going to really speak to specific locations. I've watched each one of these, and really all we're going to be able to glean from it is, small unit tactics at best. Ronnie going for a Nair sponsorship with them short shorts. Before we dive in, though, I want to talk a little bit about our partner, ATN. ATN, they are an exclusive partner of ours. That means anytime we want a digital, thermal, or night vision optic, we go straight through ATN. The stuff that they currently have like sales right now for $700 plus off of the Thor 4. That is a very, very capable thermal optic. So, with hunting season coming up, with the price of gas, the price of food that's rising through the roof, this hunting season might be the most important one that you guys have, and I mean that quite honestly. I run the X-Sight 4K, but if you're looking for a thermal, check out ATN. There's a link at the top and down in the description below. Red Light Ronnie is home alone and on the air. I am home alone. Now, what's interesting is the last time the wife left me home alone, she went to a bachelorette party for the wedding that she's now attending. When she got home, I had done all the dishes. I had sweeped and mopped, and like the whole house was clean. And she was upset about that. Like, I don't understand. She was upset about that I had cleaned the house. She was like, "It's like you don't even need me." It's like, babe, I don't know what to do now. What did you want me to do? If it was dirty. If you got home and there was stuff everywhere, anyway, hit the like button. Do us that solid. Swapping back and forth here, because I do have my coffee ready. Dinner Pro, yeah, okay. How long do you think? Question. How long do you think that's gonna last? Huh? That one's good. I normally don't like light roast, but that one's good. Woo. Mama can always fix the lawnmower. Don't you start telling them stories like that. Don't tell them that story. All right, let's get started for tonight. We're gonna talk. Let's kill the music. You might not even be able to hear the music, but I can hear it. It's bothering me. let's start the night off. We're going to talk about Ukraine, but in a different light. You know, when I say Ukraine, we're going to talk about, you know, potentially some of the ramifications of Russia's invasion in Ukraine. More specifically, the continuation of senior executives of Russian energy companies that continue to just show up dead, or oddly fall from windows at hospitals. So it was reported, it's a rough day to be an oil boss. It's a rough time right now to be an oil boss, especially for Lukoil. Lukoil has a history of kind of not agreeing with Russia's invasion of Ukraine, but Ravil Maganov, and I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. That's Ravil Maganov. Ravil Maganov was found dead. He was Lukoil's chairman. It was reported that he fell from a up high window at a hospital and died. Now, a couple people that are close to him, and I read, I want to say it was OAF Nation did a post about this. Reuters originally posted about it. A couple people that were close to him said there's no way in hell that he would have just fallen, much less committed suicide. Here is where things get weird. So people die every day. It happens all the time. We actually talk about it quite often on the stream. You know, it's a function of the cycle. All death is certain. I watched Kingdom of Heaven the other night. I don't understand why Rotten Tomatoes has such a bad score for that. Anyway, all death is certain. Here's where it gets interesting. He is not the first, nor will he likely be the last senior executive, and we've reported on this before, that is just showing up dead. Let's go through a list here. February 25th, Gazprom Executive Alexander Tyulakov. He was found dead in his garage. In April, Sergei Protesenya, an executive for Novatec, which does natural gas, he was found dead with his whole family in Spain. In May, another Lukoil executive, Alexander Subbotin, was found dead in a basement in Moscow. And in May as well, Vladislav Avayed, was the former VP of Gazprom Bank, was found dead with his whole family. I am not telling you what to do with this information. I'm not telling you what dots to connect. It's just weird, right? It's odd. Now, here is where things actually kind of do make sense from what I shouldn't say make sense, but you can start to draw a few connections based on the fact that Lukoil, is the second largest oil company in Russia, but they previously, March 3rd, publicly spoke out against Russia's invasion of Ukraine, saying very specifically they called for the soonest possible end to armed conflict and that the events in Ukraine were tragic events. This was their chairman. Here's a picture of their chairman. That was him. Brakes going out on brand new European luxury sedans. Fires. Yeah. Smoking problems. Some John Wick stuff going on. You're not wrong, man. You're not. The list is growing, though. Yeah, again, this is not the first odd coincidence. And first of all, I mean, I know the comparisons of like infrastructure and safety protocols and such are different in Russia. But hospital windows typically aren't ones that you can open, at least here in the United States, right? You're typically not able to open most large hospital windows for a lot of times for reasons like this. The report is that he fell from a hospital window. Seems like an absolutely normal phenomenon. Myocarditis. Oh, but here's some pictures of a few of these other ones. This is Alexander Tyulakov. And this one is Alexander Subbotin. All of these senior, gas and financial sector executives, or I shouldn't say gas, but energy and financial sector executives. The two major challenge areas that Russia has right now are showing up dead. Sometimes, in the instance of this gentleman, just in a basement of Moscow. In the instance of Alexander Tyulakov, he was found dead in his garage. Again, Sergei, the executive for Novatec, was found dead with his whole family. Open windows are unclean. Yep, understand. Tracking. Natural cases. Oh, I'm sure. Ronnie, how can a nation be duped for so long? Are they really that gullible? Who is they and which nation? It depends. That depends. A great example. When you say which nation, China, for instance, Great Wall of China, or Great Firewall of China, excuse me. That's a thing, right? Very controlling from a media perspective, what can and cannot be watched, all the way down to, at the 1 and 0 level. The Great Firewall of China is absolutely a thing. The same generally speaking, for Russia. When you control what can and cannot be posted, I mean, that's a penchant of tyranny. Is it not? When you can control the narrative, when you can shut down free speech. In Russia, we don't use Windows, just vodka. Well, the vodka didn't work for Ravil Maganov. It didn't work because he's dead. Let's jump into the next thing. Let's jump into the main thing I wanted to talk about. I do have a note. We talk a lot about copyright infringement, or copyright in music and stuff. There's another creator that's out there that's in a struggle right now because of copyright strikes. Likely, from what we could tell, potentially false strikes. That kind of stuff absolutely happens, and we're thinking about you, buddy. The enforcer out there, he's been covering the Russia's invasion of Ukraine for some time. We are tracking what's going on, man, and you're doing exactly what we would do, trying to shore up the back end. So keep on trucking, dude. Let's jump into the next thing that I've got here. Iran must have had like 2 or 3 bowls of Wheaties or something rather than their normal single bowl, because they decided that it'd be a good idea to try and apprehend and tow away one of our unmanned surface vessels. Now, when I say unmanned surface vessel, we're not talking about, some, hyper advanced military system. It is relatively advanced, more from a collection perspective, but it is an unmanned surface drone, waterborne drone, that has the capability from a signals intelligence perspective to soak an area. Now, we've got some footage here that shows them having to release that because of the United States Navy basically, flexing on them is really all you can describe that. Windows security is poor in Russia. I mean, that's obvious. Here we go. Coming up. Something that we are going to be doing is no more 100% full screen. So we'll be doing stuff like this from now on, okay? Now, this is a DVIDS release, which is an official DoD release. And what we're looking at here is a sail drone Explorer being towed by an Iranian vessel, specifically the Shahid Bazyar. And it is bizarre that they thought that they'd be able to just tow away our toys without us slapping them in the peen, which is exactly what happened and exactly what the U.S. Navy did here. So what you have on the bottom right is the U.S. Navy's, the Fifth Fleet, specifically USS Thunderbolt, essentially forcing them to give us back our stuff. Did he say slapping the peen? I did. Yes. Would you like me to bleep that for your beep beep? Can't see past your spotted beard. It's genetic, dude. It goes with my little hands, my little feet, and my little head circumference. Nothing I can do about it. That's typically why I just normally wear the mustache. Now, the important thing to remember here is this drone was operating lawfully in international waters. So for Iran to just decide we're gonna take your toys and take them back to our sandbox, that's bold. It is. Again, the purpose of this show isn't necessarily to speak to what ifs, but Iran kind of continues to push the envelope. They've been doing it for years. They do it with, those stupid swarm boats that come flying in. That one M134 is just going to absolutely shred to pieces. They've been doing it for years with those things. They're continuing to proxy extremist militants against the United States, quite regularly. But actually trying to take our stuff is an entirely different thing altogether, in my mind. Bold, but that's war. We're not at war with Iran. We're not at war with Iran. Abandoned sea vessels are allowed to be seized. I did read that, and that's interesting. Where do you draw that line? Because technically it's not abandoned, it's being piloted remotely, but according to the international sea law, whatever that's called, it was like a one-liner that I read in one of the reports about this. Technically speaking, there's at least something for them to lean on there, but it's still being remotely piloted. Ronnie, you're a good guy. You've been admonished. What? Thank you. Special maritime operation. All right, we've got quite a bit of footage that I want to get through today. I meant to actually pull up the campaign map. Let's get the understandingwar.org. What you're going to notice with most campaign maps right now, and with information as it flows out about the Kherson counteroffensive, I'm on the brink of getting fired. That's okay. What you're going to notice is relatively little actual reporting coming from Ukraine. And it's really going to be a whole lot of hearsay. Now, there have been a lot of people that continue to say, hey, they didn't take back the entirety of southern Ukraine overnight, so that means it has failed. There is an active and ongoing information operation that the Institute for the Study of War has reported on, multiple others have reported on, that is feasible to believe, that is trying to set conditions for, I shouldn't say set conditions, set the narrative that Ukraine has already failed in its counteroffensive. And that is very short-sighted of what a counteroffensive at this scale, or from a time perspective, a counteroffensive at this scale, and we talked about this Tuesday, is going to take. This is not going to be quick. It's not. There are going to be, they have set conditions for this counteroffensive for months, and the process for them to take the ground based on their campaign strategy is going to probably take months. Happy birthday. Oh, thanks, guys. Thanks. It is my birthday. Appreciate that. Why are you surprised by Iran moves? I didn't say I was surprised. I said it was bold. Just because we're talking about something doesn't mean I'm surprised. Iran kind of continued, like I said, they continue to push the envelope, but taking our stuff is just another step forward for them. Happy birthday. Thanks. Thank you. Thanks, guys. Let me check in on some of this support. Thanks for the $5. Mr. LM002. Thank you very much for the $5. Google won't let me post my super chat. It contains no profanity or anything of the sort. Look below this super chat. Oh, God. Missed that. Scrolling. Not able to see it. Yikes. I did notice something that YouTube has started defaulting me to top chat. I hate it when one of these, whether it's Twitter trying to suggest what I want to see, or YouTube taking the chat and modifying it, saying, here's what you should be reading out of it. I want to see all the chat. So I wish there was a way I could default it to the live chat. Happy birthday. Thanks, guys. Age, I'm 30. Guess. 30-something. I'll give you that much. Kevin B., thank you for the 1776. By the way, there were a couple super chats that came in towards the very end of the stream, and I forgot to mention those. I'm going to call those out right now. Kevin B. was one of them. Thank you for the 1776. What do you call a bear with no teeth? A gummy bear. Thanks for that. Michael Coleman, thank you for the $50. I don't know how I missed that, sir, but thank you for that. The second guy decided he needed to take a nap. That must be our 0 to 60 in whoop-ass video that you're talking about there. Thank you guys both. It matters very much. We appreciate you very much. I'm doing my very best to be better about reading the chat. I just sometimes, or reading the alerts on this far screen over here, sometimes I get so enveloped in what, we're talking about and engaging that I'll try to be better. 89, close. 34, no. I'm 33 today, guys. I'm 33 today. Hooray. $33, correct. All right, let's jump into the first piece of footage that we have. I will tell you that this is from the Kherson area. I don't have specific details on where. Kherson and Kherson Oblast are very large places, but I don't have any more specifics. I can tell you that it is an airborne insertion, a Ukrainian airborne insertion somewhere in the Kherson area. Coming up for you guys now.
Пацаны держать оборону. Первая пішла. Вторая пішла. Держим оборону. Наш борт пішов. Четверта йде на мене. Вони далеко чи ні? Що робимо? Отходимо і приймаємо бой.
Hope to see you in squad later on. We'll be there. We're going to be playing Dynamic Direction tonight. All right. Let's bring it back up. So we got another one coming from out of Kherson. There's a narrative here that I'm gonna talk about once we're done watching all these. We're gonna see an armored advance. Now, what I have seen is that armor, specifically Ukrainian armor, is and where it is advancing is having a little bit of a tough time. Again, like I mentioned on Tuesday, it's going to be long. It's going to be an absolute meat grinder in the South. It's going to take a while, and there are going to be a lot of casualties. Just, I don't mean to be that callous, but it's the honest truth. What we've got here is Ukrainian armored mech infantry supported by tanks somewhere near Kherson.
А ну-ка, що там з цим лівим ухом? Ну давай, малыш. Ну же. Жах. Есть контакт.
All right. And the last is going to be Ukraine establishing a support by fire position somewhere, generally speaking, in the Kherson area. And when I say Kherson area, I mean Kherson Oblast, just Kherson, down there in that area. It's coming up for you. Happens when UAF hides in buildings. I've been waiting for this comment. You know what we should do? We should go back to Winston Churchill and tell him that he was in the wrong for posting up in London to defend it against Germany. That's what we should do too. That makes a whole lot of sense, doesn't it? Weird.
Присел. Да, давай, быстрее. Работай мухой, тихо.
Again, that is somewhere in Kherson. Don't have information about where. Don't know when. Happy birthday. Thanks very much. Thank you for that. Now, this next one is going to be a little bit long. It's about a 4-minute video, but we watched a 45-second clip of this, and it reportedly takes place near Pisky. What we're about to watch is the epitome, the definition of a close quarters fight. On your left side of the screen is going to be Russian. On the right side, underneath the bridge, is going to be Ukrainian. At least that is our understanding of it. That's what that we have been able to find, and it kind of makes sense based on what we can tell from a uniform perspective. This is also a little bit higher quality than that last 45-second video that we watched, but this is absolutely nose to nose here. Coming up for you now. Metal, thanks for the $2. Please do slap on the like button for us. It's absolutely a free way to support the stream. And I would like to also let you guys know that we potentially are working or might work in the future with another platform to host this live stream. If you're not in the know yet, go back and try to watch Tuesday's live stream and let me know how many things you have to click to before you're able to watch it. Coming up for you guys now. I do have to keep the sound off from a copyright perspective. It is the 4-minute one. I forgot I need to put myself over here. So over here, you're going to have Russians, or at least from what we can tell. Steven Seagal birthday cameo for Ronnie. He's too busy providing expertise. A lot of hand grenades. Something to remember while you're watching this is you're probably looking at RGD hand grenades. Those have a lethal kill radius of somewhere between 6 and 20 meters, with a safe, full safe distance of all the way out to 100 meters. This is Pisky. Yep. Finally caught you live. Welcome in, Nick. How are you? Take a shot every time this guy. Hi, this guy here. How are you? What was it specifically? From a perspective. Is that another shot for you? Huh? Why no more full screen? Reasons. All right, so enter down here at the bottom. Ukrainian forces. Tossing a grenade over there. You're wearing your dinner pro? Good, Reginald. So you've got 3 total down here. There's one just behind me here. Look at this guy. Whew. Thanks, Mama. So the timing here, this is something that I want to talk about or just draw your attention to. Look at where everybody is right now. So this Ukrainian has kind of exposed himself to this firing position all the way off to the left, and he's going to move back behind cover just as this Russian comes over to put fire on his position. And he just makes it into cover before this Russian would have been able to theoretically get rounds on him. And I don't even know if he knows how close he just came. There. He's not looking back that way. So it's hard to know. Look at the timing here. Israel, thank you for the $2. Pucker factors at a 10 out of 10. I would go for a 12 out of 10. Yeah. It gets a little bit, it gets even more wild here. Look familiar. Do you teach a firearm class? Thanks for the $2. Not outside of the Army. No, I do not. I do not claim nor pretend to be a firearms expert. Love my guns. If you join the other stream, we can talk, all you'd like about all the ones that are behind me on the stream over there, though. But I do teach the Tech Ant course for my unit, which, I don't know, you might have been a part of that. Who's who in this? Off to the left of your screen here, we believe are Russian. Just based on uniformity and what we have been able to find from a reporting perspective. And to the right, under the bridge, are Ukrainian. Let's watch that again. So, the first time I watched this, I thought to myself, whoa, that was a rocket. So what we're going to have is, so we've got 3 Ukrainians, supposedly, that are lined up here behind this wall. This second one, right next to the pillar, has got an RPG. Now, here's what I think happens here. So his buddy throws that grenade. He lines the RPG up. And you guys can just barely see. I'm going to move myself to the other side. He lines the RPG up, and at the same time, in parallel, I think he takes a couple rounds right at this wall. And that RPG, he kind of points it, further vertical, and it just kind of sends itself off into the sky. I mean, that bad boy went like way up in the air. Let's watch it 0.25 speed. All right, so there's the frag. Just went over. It's going to land somewhere over here. That frag just went off. All right, so he's lining up with the RPG now. And you see rounds start to impact here. And he sends that thing into another zip code. Now, previously, there was a Russian in this fighting position earlier in the video. There were Russians here. So I think he assumes in the fog, there he is, that there are still Russians there. And, I mean, the RPG doesn't have an arming distance. Pull, thank you for the $1.49. Why is Iran getting bold? They tried to take one of our things. We'll go back and we'll watch that one since it is the thumbnail and the title of the video. But we started with a little bit of a rant today. And I ran so far away. I'm sorry. I couldn't help that. How do I get one of those funker red squares after my name? Click the join button. Yeah, so if you're wondering how to get the green name with, the funker logo next to it, that's becoming a member. Now, what I'd ask is if you do become a member, something to keep in mind, Google takes 30% of that, right? We are soon to launch an ad-free version of our app. Soon. Not soon, but soon. Kind of like Escape from Tarkov soon. Battlestate Games soon. We're working through the final tweaks right now. We want to have as minimal bugs with that as possible, right? The Funker 530 app itself will always be free, but we understand that some folks might want an ad-free viewing experience to watch this stuff without my dumb face on it, right? All of this was available on the website and on the app long before we talked about it here. So when that time comes, something that we're going to suggest and ask is if you do become a member here, please move that over there. All of it will go to support us, the Funker 530 team, development of new capabilities, new ways for us to bring you content, and stop giving Google some of your money. All right, let's bring it back. So never, no, I did. We beta tested it. We're past the alpha. We beta tested it. It works. There are a couple minor bugs that we want to make sure that we clean up before we launch it live, though. We're not going to launch a beta. I have like 4,000 hours in Tarkov. I feel like at this point I'm allowed to talk a little bit of crap about it. Does that type of fighting happen usually? I mean, it has, but if I'm not mistaken, the average engagement was something like 1 to 200 meters during the Global War on Terror. But that was not a peer versus peer fight or a near peer, fight. When you're staring down peer level capabilities, and you can close distance at the same speed to each other, this type of fighting becomes more and more prevalent. Nope. RPG has a glass electric switch in the nose, no safety cap. It'll go off if you drop. Yeah, there's no arming distance on it. You shoot, it goes. It goes and it blows up. It'll blow up 2 feet from your feet. Been loving the website. I watch your vids while editing my own ones. Russia subs, sitting a few miles from my house in Ireland. Fisherman to the rescue. Irish, thank you for the $4.99. The names are green, and there's a Funker logo in the red box. Yeah, so if you would like to become a member, click this link. That'll get you that green name. Russian will start to maneuver off of that close fighting position right up there, tucked into the wall. Yeah. Yep. All right, let's move on to the next one. This one's actually a really cool video to watch. One of the hallmarks of artillery is being able to shoot and then scoot if you need to. And we're going to watch an M777, which is a U.S.-made 155 millimeter towed artillery gun, firing and then being taken down and moved inside of a minute. It's an amazing video to watch, and the Ukraine's artillery prowess that we've talked about before is kind of on full display here. Check this out. Got copyrighted music again. So at the very beginning they fire. So they just fired a round. And now they start the tear down process. It doesn't fire. You can see all of this is from it just firing. Douglas, thanks for hitting the member button. I mean, these dudes are moving. And you know, when we did a whole breakdown on Ukrainian artillery and its effectiveness, especially towards the beginning of the war, and it continues to be effective. There are a lot of things that make Ukraine's artillery effective, not least of which is their fire control system that they use. It is native to Ukraine. They're using a lot of Western equipment, but a lot of the software, a lot of what they're using to control fires is much different than what we would use. Imagine it almost like Uber or Lyft, where you can just assign a fire mission to multiple groups of teams whenever you want. You just assign a target. It's a pretty great video. It provides a little bit of insight, at least from an earlier in the war perspective, on how exactly, I shouldn't say exactly, but it gives you a little bit of insight on how Ukraine was doing artillery. All right, let's jump into the next one. We haven't seen a Bayraktar video in a little while, and I wanted to make sure to hook you guys up with one. We're going to see Bayraktar letting a Russian mortar team know that it's there and it's watching. Once I get this idiot off of my screen. Looks a lot like me, though. Coming up now. It doesn't feel right to watch a Bayraktar video and not be able to play the Bayraktar song. Sign my Bayraktar shirt. My Bayraktar shirt's one of my favorites. My favorite is the Danger Baseball, because Josh made fun of me for that one, and I love it, just in spite of Josh. Yeah, I forgot to put Ronnie in the corner. Ronnie's in the corner now. Bayraktar. Boo. Boo. Bayraktar, we riot. All right, so that was our Ukrainian perspective footage. We don't have a non-Ukraine/Russia footage section. We're focusing very intently on Ukraine and Russian perspective footage. So we're going to jump into our Russian perspective footage that we've got. This is going to be a Ukrainian BMP detonating after being hit by some form of a Russian munition. It's a cook-off, essentially. Wearing your A-10 Warthog shirt. That one's a classic. That one predates me as a part of the Funker team. Woof. That's a cook-off. We're watching Russian artillery targeting Ukrainian mech right now. These are Ukrainian vehicles that we're watching here receiving we're in our Russian perspective footage section. Ukrainian vehicles receiving Russian artillery. Here's this doofus again. Whoops. All right. Our next one, we've got Donetsk People's Republic tanks shelling Ukrainian positions here. No A-10 in Ukraine, wrong environment. That 40-kilometer convoy disagrees with you, boss. That was like a buffet. That was like a buffet for an A-10, dude. You support that thing with some anti-air fires, and, you know, in the words of Private Jackson, pack your bags, fellers, war's over. This is reportedly from the 100th Brigade of the Donetsk People's Republic. And they're shelling what is, allegedly, I can't really tell much here, a Ukrainian tree line. Copywritten music, got to turn it off. Really giving that tree line hell. Difficult to see if there's any movement in the tree line at all. But we used to receive a lot of flack for not showing, the Russian perspective footage that we post, and we've been posting that on the website for the longest time. So I am now including that footage in the live show. So here we are. Josh says going to be point blank. U.S. Air Force would have zero issues gaining air superiority over the Russian. It's game over. U.S. Josh said something one time, and the more and more I thought about it, it made a whole lot of sense. One carrier strike group. He said it in the context of China, but you don't even need the Air Force. Just use Navy pilots. Use Navy pilots. You got a bunch of Marines in there with the Navy with them. It's listen. Russia is not the boogeyman that we grew up believing they were. Right at the beginning of this, we watched over and over again. Every other day it was, well, just wait. Russia's going to pull something here. They're not even using their best. And then we see Spetsnaz, and now there's reports of something like 900 plus of Russia's tip of the spear personnel are now dead. Right? They are not the boogeyman we grew up with, that we grew up believing. They're not. I'm sorry, if you grew up idolizing the Russian military, and there's like a whole niche that like the Wagner guys, of folks that like follow what they do and they want to wear the same stuff. They're not the guys, man. They're not the ones. All right, let's jump into the next one that we got here. So this is technically Ukrainian perspective footage, but these are Ukrainians driving through a Russian artillery barrage. This one I haven't watched yet, so I don't know if there's copyrighted music. Nope, we're good. I don't know what that is, but I'm turning it off. Russia has air superiority today between Mykolaiv and up to Kherson. With what? Honest question. With what? Where are they flying from? Saki Air Base? I'm not sure if you've heard, but that's not there anymore. Is the air superiority provided by their S-300s? Because I'm not sure if you've heard, but wait for it. Just gotta find it. It's not doing too well. If they had air superiority, there's a high likelihood that a lot of these deeper strikes into Russian-held territory are harms, are the AGM-88 harms. If they had that level of air superiority, those AGM-88 harms would not be able to be used to the effect that they have to strike Russian positions that far behind the forward line of troops. There's a reason that I say a lot of this stuff, guys. You know, some of it is, you know, to be funny. It's supposed to be entertaining. But there's a reason that I say that, right? Russia does not treat air superiority in the same way that the United States does. Russian air superiority is really only to provide support to the wave, to the mass, to infantry. By doctrine, that is how Russia does air superiority. It's not treated as its own separate warfighting domain, right? We have separate warfighting domains where we try to dominate individually and then combine that superiority into total warfare. Russia really only tries to enable the ground force. That is by doctrine. Look it up. Russian greatest fear is a U.S. Marine and his rifle. That was Saddam Hussein's greatest fear. I'm not sure if you're aware of that. If you're ever interested in reading about an information operation that wasn't, the D-Day invasion, because there was a major information operation deception campaign, read about the left hook. Left hook was essentially our initial invasion into Iraq. Saddam Hussein was absolutely terrified of Marines and believed wholeheartedly. This would have been Kuwait. Believed wholeheartedly in Marines landing ashore to the point to where he had so much of his combat power, down on the coast, that we essentially did what was called the left hook, where we went up and around and just crashed back down on top of his forces. Take a read into the left hook if you're interested in reading a little bit more about information operations and how it kind of ties into campaign strategy. The A-10 was specifically designed to attack Soviet-era armor. I just let that one go. Like, air superiority means something different to us than it does to Russia. It just does, fundamentally speaking. They might get it right next century. I mean, again, this is... We grew up believing that Russia was this, the big bad boogeyman. Again, I grew up, I'm the last of the 80s babies before it became 90s babies. I remember to this day, my mom, she comes over and she's like, well, why hasn't Russia? And I'm like, because, Mom, what you grew up believing about Russia was all a lie. Now, there might have been a time that the Soviet Union, would have fared a little bit better, but we have evidence, ample evidence now of Russia's invasion in Ukraine, of Western munition systems being used by people that have only known these weapon systems for months, right? We have HIMARS. HIMARS has been in Ukraine for how long? How many Russian ammunition depots are now gone? Imagine a force that has been training for integration of all of these Western weapon systems into a total warfare concept. Imagine that against what's happening in Ukraine right now. It's very different. It is. Chat's spicy tonight. I like it. All right, we've got our last one of the night coming up here. We've got a Russian soldier climbing on top of a tank and dropping a hand grenade into the hatch. I don't know if there's anybody in the tank. I don't know. Listen, I don't pretend to be an expert on Russia. I don't. That's not every mission I was assigned to was either AFRICOM or Afghanistan. But what I can tell you is that we've been intently watching raw combat footage from the very beginning of this war, from February 24th, and even prior to that. Somebody remind me. I'll hook you guys up with an edited video that we did on the Bayraktar's very first strike in Ukraine. It got smashed by YouTube's algorithm. Their very first strike in Ukraine. We've been reporting on this stuff for a long time, watching this raw combat footage. Okay, we're not. I don't watch the news. I don't have time to. I wish I had time to watch the news so I could see what they're talking about. You know, I receive that comment all the time. You're just, repeating what the news is saying. I don't watch the news, man. I don't have time to watch the news. Nor do I want to. Footage. Don't believe the CIA Mockingbird media. Check it out. You're absolutely right. The CIA showed up at the door one day and they were like, you know what? We'd like to support you in your basement and ask for you to repeat all of this stuff in your short shorts. I'm the guy. I'm the guy they came to for that. Yep. You got me. Listen. I got to come clean. I do. Anyway. I hope somebody clips that. I hope it makes its way. I hope it makes its way across the internet. I did once have the FBI come visit me. Listen, I'm not the guy that they're going to come and ask to ferret their opinion. I'm not, all right? It's just not going to happen. I'm not that guy. I'm out of here. It's going to auto-redirect you guys over to the other stream where we're going to kick back and maybe laugh about all of this nonsense. This is, had a little bit of a spicy chat tonight, but that's okay. That's okay. Guys, I'm just a guy, I'm one very small part of a larger team here at Funker 530 that is focused intently on showing you as much footage as possible as individuals, as people, myself, Josh, Austie, Will, Funker himself. As individuals, we have our biases, but Funker 530's mission in the app and on the website, our fundamental goal is to show you the footage raw. You can come to your own conclusions over there. It's okay. Go watch it. But that's what we do. We have been covering this stuff for the last 14 years, whether or not it's Russia's invasion of Ukraine, the global war on terror, World War II, Vietnam, the Korean War, the Burma coup from 2021 or in the 80s, the Croatian-Bosnian War. It doesn't matter, because what we're here to do is compile this information into one spot for you to go and watch, ingest, and digest. Ingesting information or footage is different than than ingesting it and digesting it, understanding it. That's what we're hoping to help people do, is understand what war looks like, because maybe we might catch the right person and they'll start to change how they make policy against it. I don't know. I'm an optimist. Maybe I shouldn't be. Thanks for being here. We'll catch you guys over on the other stream, and stay informed. Good night.
Detroit.